everybody, welcome back to our channel. How Rare, we're the Helenas, and in today's video we have some stories to tell you.
Thank you for coming back for another video for your chariot.
So let's get to it.
From one of our videos, I had mentioned that I saved some of my friends and myself from getting kidnapped, and a bunch of people that know me and watched the video have asked me, what happened? Like, how did you almost get kidnapped? They want to know the story. So I'm gonna be telling you about a time when me and a bunch of my friends almost got kidnapped. So yeah, let's get started. Me and my friend were watching the movie Taken. That guy that says, "I will find you and I will kill you." Y'all know who I'm talking about. We were watching that movie right before we went out that night. Two of our friends show up, right? So we're all dressed up, you know, feeling cute, and we're all just like a kiki. We're taking our shots, we're taking pictures. You know how girls are when we get together, taking selfies, and we call our Uber. So we go to this club on 18th Street, DC. We're just having fun, we're having a really good time. We met this girl, she was having a good time as well. Once she started talking to us, she was all about like, oh my god, you girls are so gorgeous, you guys are so pretty. She just kind of like wanted to join the crew. So, who are we to say no? If you're cool, if you're having a good time, we all gonna have a good time together. That's what we thought. Just your regular schmegular girlfriend's night out, right? We're having a really good time. So at some point we're dancing and she comes up to me and she gives me a bottle of beer, but it was already opened. If there's anything my dad has taught me, he has told me since I don't even know. I don't know how young, but he has drilled it in my mind to never sip a drink from an open can or an open bottle. He's already told me this a million times, so it's like stuck in my head no matter how sober or drunk I am. Well, never mind. Scratch that, because if I'm like extra lit, then I'm drinking anything you give me. But anyways, so by the time she gave me that open bottle of beer, I was just, that's the first thing that popped in my head. And honey, I ain't Boo Boo the Fool, am I? No. I did not accept that drink, but I pretended like I was gonna drink it. So I was just like holding it in my hand while I'm dancing and, you know, just having a good time, just pretending like I was just like, thank you. And like I took it. At that point, we didn't think anything of it. We still thought like she was this sweet girl, just trying to be our friend. So we didn't think anything of it. At some point, she was dancing with a bunch of my friends and I leaned over. There's like a couch in one of the sections. Right behind the couch, I just spilled the whole thing. Like I said, I am not Boo Boo the Fool, okay? No. I totally pretended like I drank everything. So by the time I came back, the bottle was like almost empty, and she thought I was really lit, because I think the main reason she wanted to get me lit is because she noticed how all of my friends were lit than I was. So she wanted to get me drunk so she could, you know, get all of us lit and do whatever she wants at that point. So I pretended like I was drunk. Like, obviously I had a few drinks, but I wasn't to the point where I didn't know what I was doing. I was just having a good time. I still wasn't like crazy skeptical about her, but I was just thinking I'm not gonna accept a drink that's already open. So by the time that party was over, it was kind of shutting down. We ended up just standing outside having a conversation, right? So I think she had a bob haircut. From what I remember, I think she had a short hair. She looked really cute. She honestly looked sophisticated even for the club. She was dressed really nice. So we're having a conversation and she's telling us, you know, she's asking us, what do you guys do for a living? Blah, blah, blah. And, you know, again, complimenting us. And then, I don't know if we asked her, we probably did to be nice. We were just like, you know, what do you do? And she was like, I'm honestly just trying to have a good time tonight, but I have a speech to get ready for tomorrow because I work with Hillary Clinton. And meanwhile, me and my girls are looking at each other and we're like, oh my god, you work for Hillary Clinton? Like, what? Oh my god, good for you. You know, we're being totally gullible, and you know, we're also under the influence. So we're like, you know, we're just like gassing her up because she said she works for Hillary Clinton, and like, why wouldn't we, right? So, you know, like, girl talk. Anyways, so we gas her up, and then she's like, yeah, well, I won't be out too late because, you know, I gotta get ready for the speech, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, okay, well, we weren't gonna go home. So we were like, okay, well, what's the next move, right? If you know anything about DC, it's usually a party and then an after party. So when this one shut down, we were just like, all right, well, let's go to the next one, right? And she was like, okay, well, let's go to the next place. She picked the place. So at this point, she already knows us, you know, she's kind of figured out like we're kind of like really lit, or like we're very like uppity. I don't know how to explain it, but like, you know, we want to go for more. So she's already figured that out. Then we were about to call Uber. She was like, no, I already called Uber. Let's just go together. And at that point, this is what we shouldn't have done. But at that point, we honestly were just like, okay, well, let's go to Uber together, because there was like a van, like 4 of us and then 1 of her, and then next thing we know, she has an older man next to her. So we just assumed that was her friend. We didn't think anything of it. It's this club on Georgia Avenue, Northwest Georgia Avenue, DC. We go into the Uber. It was like a big van. I think they're called Uber X, and then we're just like kind of like stuffed in the back. So we're all just like having a good time talking, laughing, and then at some point she gets into an altercation with the Uber driver. The music was being loud, and I think he didn't want it to be loud. There was just some kind of altercation with the Uber driver. I do remember that she was being a little rude. And at some point, when that whole thing was happening, I kind of just like zoned out from my friends and like started like listening to whatever she was saying. And I was just kind of like a little nervous, so I just like made it my mission to just like listen to what they were saying, because she was talking to her guy friend. It was an older man, like all gray hair, between this like rude conversation she's having with the Uber driver. At some point I heard her say, it might not be exactly what she said, but she said something along the lines of, you're gonna pay me once we get there, right? And he kind of like, he was just like, yeah. And at that point, I started getting really nervous. My friend and I were like talking in Amharic, like, okay guys, like, I don't know why we got in this car in the first place, but it's time for us to dip, because like, we don't know these people. And you know, I just heard them say like, you know, you're gonna pay me later on and blah, blah, blah. And then we just got all nervous from there, because we were just looking at each other like, we're gonna live today, right? As soon as, you know, we get there, we have to like, you know, find our way. We gotta get away from these people. Like, we're just talking in Amharic, and my other friend is kind of confused, doesn't know Amharic. You guys, like, what's happening? We didn't know what to do. We were just like, I sobered up real quick right there. And then, you know, I think my friends were kind of like sobering up too. My mind was just like, why did we get into this Uber? Like, we don't even know if this girl like set us up. We don't even know if this is an actual Uber. It might be one of her friends. Like, there was a lot of things going through my mind. We're already very skeptical. We don't want to be with these people anymore. So we get there peacefully, thank God. I'm telling them like, we want to leave, you know, we want to get off the Uber. And she's like, no, we're gonna have a good time. We had no choice because we were already in the Uber. Like, that was one of our mistakes. Like, we should have never went into the Uber. Like, we should have just met at the club. And next thing you know, she was like, I really have to pee. The other club wasn't that far away from this one, so she honestly could have waited until we got to the club. But no, this girl pulled out a cup from the Uber. She was getting in a huge fight with the Uber driver. He's like telling her, we're almost at the club, like, you can pee there. She was like, I have to pee, just shut up, like, I won't mess up your car, I'm just gonna pee in the cup. And y'all, she peed in the car, in the cup. That was so trifling. And she wiped herself with a paper towel that she found in the car. This is real life, guys. I'm not making this up, and my friends can back me up on this. Anyway, she wiped herself and she left it in the Uber. It was so disgusting. Mind you, the Uber driver is screaming out of his lungs like, this is very disrespectful, like, this is my Uber, you can't do stuff like that. And she's like, shut up and like get us there. Like, she had that attitude. She was talking to him so disrespectful manner. So at that point, we already knew, like, no, hell no, there's no way we're gonna be, you know, with this girl. There's no way we're gonna be hanging out with this girl in the other club. We're just like, we want this to be the last time we see her. We want this Uber driver to just stop the car, and so that we can get out of there. I was so mad for the Uber driver. Clearly not raised in the same manner. By the time we got off the car, my friends are still like freaking out. And at that point, I knew I was the most sober one, so I had to go to the security guard that was at the club that we were going to. I approached the security guard. I was like, we really don't know them. We don't feel safe around them. So if you could please, like, let us go in. I just kind of quickly told him what happened in the Uber. And thankfully, the security guard really believed me. I think he saw the nervousness in my face. So he was just like, give me a second. He went back to his security guards, the other crew that was with him. I honestly don't know what he told them, but anyways, he came back. So me and my 3 other friends, he let us in, and we didn't even go all the way in the club. So we get there, and there's this alley right next to the club that we went to. It's like really narrow alley. The guy that was with her, he was looking for an ATM so that he can pay her because she brought us to him. We honestly went to that club because we were familiar with it, but like we didn't realize that it's a club that she chose, so she knows the location, she knows exactly what's around there. So we didn't really like put 2 and 2 together. My friend is like hysterically crying because she's so nervous. I think it hit her that we could have been kidnapped by this girl and this guy that's paying her. This night could have gone really badly. She started getting really loud with the security guards because she noticed that they let us in but they didn't let her in. We hear her voice just like screaming, and she was like, I know these girls. We just came from the same club. And we were like, yes, but we honestly don't know you. We thought you were cool then, but right now, no, honey, like, back up. My friend was like, if you know us, what's our name? And the girl just froze for a second. And that's when the security guard knew, like, he already knew that we didn't know each other, but at that point, he had a right to be like, okay, you need to leave because if you don't know their name, you clearly do not know them. She's yelling, she's screaming, she's getting loud, she's getting rowdy and like rude towards the security guard. She started like calling us names, cussing us out, and she was just being like nasty. So they kicked her ass out. At that point, we were so happy because we just felt safe. Like we were just like, you know, it didn't kick in right away. We were still very nervous because we found out by talking to those security guards that there's an alley where a lot of human trafficking happened. So I think what was happening was that the guy was paying the lady to, you know, bring us together so we can like all click, and then by the end of the night they could take us to that alley. Honestly, I can't exactly say if we were going to be human trafficked or just like kidnapped for God knows what. But anyways, nothing happened at the time, thank God. Come to find out later on, like a lot of girls work for this kind of business. Their job is to like click with a bunch of girls that go out together that don't have guys with them. So if you are a bunch of girls that just, you know, want to go out for girls' night and they see that there's no guy with you, you're automatically a target. So that's what she saw from us. She picked the wrong crew is all I'm gonna say. She picked the wrong group of women. Wrong. Thank God the security guards were just like angels that night. I wanted to ease our mind because we didn't want to go home all creeped out. So we just had a great time from there. We called an Uber ourselves and went back home safely. To educate you all, it could happen to anyone, so just keep that in mind. Especially if you're like a group of girls, just make sure you have one person that's sober. And that's my story of almost getting kidnapped. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Let me know if you guys have ever experienced anything like this or something similar.
3 years back, I was in school. I decided it was kind of hard keeping a job and still going to school, and you also have to pay your bills, but it's kind of hard to manage school and homework and then work at the same time. So I was considering driving Uber because first and foremost, you're your own boss, and second, you have your own schedule. So I was like, okay, let me just drive Uber. And I asked around, and a few people that drive Uber were like, oh yeah, we suggest working like weekend. When surging prices up for Uber drivers, that means you're making more money. So sometimes you will make double the money because it's like a lot of people requesting the Uber, and it's just this whole thing. I'll not get into that because that's not the point of the story. Working weekends was good because you'll make good money. You won't be waiting for rides, and it's mostly long distance rides, or even if it's short distance rides, it's still good money. So I decided to do that. I don't remember which day it was, but I was just getting off the Key Bridge from Arlington to DC, and I got a request, and it was this gentleman. So I was like, okay, let me just, from the Kennedy Center. I picked him up, and it was 4 of them, and he had an accent. I remember he was either Serbian or Russian. I'm not sure, but I'm not familiar with that language, so I'm not sure what it was technically. And the whole time I got this weird vibe from them. It's just weird. They were just, first and foremost, it kind of bothered me. I mean, it's not that it's bad that they were speaking their own language, and I don't have nothing against that, but it was just their aura. I'm not sure. I don't know how to describe it. It was just weird. And they were going to Baltimore, and it was a 50-minute ride. And legit, it was just a long ride. And we get to the highway, and Baltimore's highway doesn't have lights at that time. I'm not sure if it has the lights right now, but it was just dark, and it was just, you see cars coming, and you're just driving, it's just dark, and all you see is trees on that side and this side. And as I was driving, they were just having their own conversation, and they were laughing and talking, and 20 minutes into the ride, he turns around and stares at me, and I was just like, why is he staring at me? I thought he had a question, but I just continued doing my job. I just kept on driving, and next thing I know, he has his hands on my thighs, and I was like, excuse me, sir. So I moved off his hands, and I was like, excuse me, sir, please don't do that. And at that moment, deep down inside, I was panicking. I was so scared. I was like, oh my god, what did I get myself into? And I was coming up with different scenarios, what am I gonna do? I was just freaking out, and I was telling myself, it's okay, you have pepper spray right there on the side, I can just pepper spray them. Or I was considering pulling over and telling them to get out, but I don't know what they're gonna do to me. It's 4 men, they're big ass men, they're huge, they're late 30s, no, late 20s to mid 30s, so it's kind of it's crazy scary. And I also did not want to get in an argument with them, because it's not the safest bet at that moment. They know I'm not scared, but at the same time, that's not the right thing, So I was just like, okay, it's freaking me out. Then I was thinking about what I'm gonna do, so I just started speeding. Hopefully there's a police and they'll pull me over, so I'd rather get a ticket than deal with these men and whatever they're gonna do to me. It's just a scary moment. You're just thinking of the worst. So I was just driving, and a few minutes later, he does the same thing, and I'm like, excuse me, sir, I have pepper spray, and also I can call the police on the app, so please don't do that again. And he just started laughing so loud. I don't know what's funny about that. There's nothing funny at this point. It's scary. And he stopped, but still was scary. I couldn't wait till I was done with that ride. And I pulled over with wherever they're going. They got out of my car, and he said thank you, and he just slammed the door. I immediately reported him, because this is not okay, we are not objects. You can't just randomly touch a woman and be like, oh, it's fine, it's funny. It's not funny. I don't know what Uber did to them after I did not follow up with it, but I wrote a whole report and emailed it to them. They did send me an apology email, but at the same time, that's not enough, I don't know what happened. Maybe I should have followed into it and learned whatever happened to them, or what Uber had to deal with it. But that was the time I said, hey Helena, this is not for you. Regardless how Uber was great for me, the scheduling, being my own boss and everything was more than what I needed, but at the same time, it's not worth my life my future basically. And I don't want to carrying that burden with, but like I don't want to do that to myself. I had to take steps towards what I needed to do, and it was not safe, and I knew I wouldn't be okay to be driving Uber after that. So I just went home, and that was the last day for me as an Uber driver. But yeah, it's a scary world, and I just want to make sure you take care of yourself and make sure things are gonna the right path in life, I guess. Subscribe and
Make sure you leave a comment.
follow us on Instagram, _Tribe.
Whatever you want to do, do it.
Thank you so much and have a good one.